Hey everyone, we're back. We're the Podcast Records. We're here with some special guests and Kevin making a camera fiasco. Hey everybody, I'm Adam Aragon. We're here with our usual hosts, Matlock Sumsteg, and filling in today is also Kevin Jones, who's been on the show a couple times before already. And we have a very special guest. We're going to be interviewing and talking with Benny Arent, who has his own podcast, and it's sometimes funny.
It's better than ours, so that's what makes it special.
But yeah, Matlock, you had an anecdote, I believe.
Oh, well, Kevin was bringing up, what did you call it, Kevin, before we started?
Post-nut clarity.
Post-nut clarity. Okay, so I think that there absolutely is, like moderation in all things, right? If you don't jack off at all, or you don't masturbate, you have all this energy pent up, right? And that can be used and channeled creatively. So some people, I think, can use it to a great benefit. But at the same time, I think it's what contributes to social awkwardness, overthinking, a lot of stress and anxiety. Is Scientology.
I was going to say, that's why the incel community is so well known for being such scholars.
Well, right, exactly. But no, but here's
small specific things.
Yeah, this is just my theory, okay? And if you go on the opposite end of the spectrum and you masturbate too much, you lose all motivation. And you don't have any energy to commit to people or things. And maybe you're very relaxed when you're social.
What's too much, though? Like 14 times a day, all day?
It depends on the person. It really depends on you and your age, too, probably. Yeah. I could go 5 times a day back in the day. And, it's just 2. I'm lucky if I can get... if there's a third in there, it's a once-a-year miracle,
My thing, though,
find out later.
Is I was informed by my youth pastor that if I masturbated too much, I would go blind.
Well, and you've believed that up until today?
No,
they never finished. They never finished that. You will go blind at the age of 50.
Oh,
okay.
So
and now you've got your glasses on. I can see it's already started to appear.
Your video went a little blurry, mine as you did that, so it's kind of perfect.
Yeah. I'm actually blind. I just wear these glasses so people think I.
There you go.
See, so,
I actually tend to think of it as pre-nut confusion as opposed to post-nut clarity.
Pre-nut confusion. I like it.
There's something about Mary. Chris Elliott has that thing about you gotta jack off before you go in.
Yeah, you gotta take the bullet out of the chamber, man.
Exactly right. Exactly. Yeah. I think there's some real wisdom to that, to Chris Elliott's works there.
And that's why I'm not allowed at Mary's Pizza Shack anymore. But I took that advice to heart.
Within 1,000 feet of a school.
Yeah. Or within 1,000 feet of any pizza place, actually.
Movie theaters, porno theater. Are there still porno theaters? Do those still exist?
Somewhere, probably.
Yeah. The way the dough right after the whole Pee Wee Herb.
It's got to be historic.
You do that, then people are going to try and nut where Pee Wee did. That's just going to be a constant thing.
If his star were there, people would probably nut on the star. That would be really would
that be a good legacy to...
I mean, you'd have to ask him, and he's dead. So really, it's just you got to roll the dice and hope that he doesn't get
legacy.
You don't want Pee Wee haunting you.
If you don't nut on Pee Wee's trophy, then he's just gonna haunt you.
I know you are. I know you're alive, but what am I? I know you're alive, but what am I?
Now I know what content to cut.
Really, he was. I watched him. I spent more time with Pee Wee as a kid than I did with my own dad. So he wasn't even physically there.
So yeah, we have, like I said, a special guest. We're going to do a bit of an interview here and then just some BSing. The podcast records are known for having no discernible format. So that's
our gimmick.
That's our thing. This shows whatever you want it to be this week. Benny Arent is here.
Very special guest is Benny Arent. He is very special.
The specialist guest. Yeah, tell us about what projects you're working on and what's interesting and what you're up to lately.
Yeah, tell us all about it, Benny. God damn it, I tried to cut you off at the very end. Go ahead.
Some friends and I have an actual play Quest World. Sorry, we changed recently because there was a whole thing with Dungeon World.
Dungeon related legal issues.
You called it Dungeons and Dragons, and apparently someone took
Fucking
the name.
dungeon guys, man. I hate those guys.
New.
Somebody stole it
Doing
from
something new. But yeah, the group is called High INT Low WIS because we're smart enough to know better and foolish enough to try anyway. So it's
Wiz.
good stuff.
That's Wiz with an S, right? Not a Z.
That's Wiz
it's
with
not
an
like
S.
the Wiz.
Not a Z.
Like you're not
I-
anti the
short
Wiz,
for
right? Because
wisdom.
that's a great movie.
Yeah. The game folk among you.
So
will
I have
know
no
what we're
clue.
talking about. INT is also short for intelligence.
Yeah. High intelligence, low wisdom. All right. So about your podcast, Benny, are you the originator here? Or is this a group effort? Like,
No, I got called in. It was put together by another person that I've gamed with a whole bunch, and they just kind of put out the call, and I'm like, hey, I would like to do this. I love gaming. I've got a bunch of improv skills that I'm not using for anything anymore. Please, I do voices. I'll sing songs. I'll dance for you. Just fucking do this thing.
Please be my friend.
Sounds like how I tried to make friends in high school. It's just like, I'll do anything that dance. I'll sing. I'll draw you.
on your kiss, you want me to smell your dog? I'll do it.
You can punch me as hard as you want. You punch me as hard
I have
as you
something
want.
disgusting. I'll eat it.
Just
I
go ahead and
swear.
punch me in the face. Just say you're my friend.
So that's our common thread.
So what format does it take place? Like, do you guys change it for the podcast presentation, or do you just play like you normally play?
We play like we normally play, but we're aware that there's an audience, and
Yeah.
it's audio only. Like we'll do actual video feed for us so that we can see each other and react. But as far as the recording goes, it's strictly audio.
Oh, audio only.
So-
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're aware of that. And we're also not doing it live, so we have the ability to be like, well, that's not going to go in this episode.
That's inappropriate. Yeah.
Well, we tend to keep that stuff actually.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the good stuff. Yeah, I run a weekly D&D game, and I have a really great crew for that. And I'm looking at actually turning it into a podcast at some point. I bought the domain critical.fail. So
So I'm pretty good. We're going to make it about you, Adam.
yeah. Anyway,
We've got a very special guest. I have something just like his thing.
And also, I'm going to do it.
No, you're not
Thank you for
special.
bringing up the thing that I prompted to tell you about. Let me go ahead and segue into me.
I brought Benny on to tell you about his podcast, so I could tell you how much better
this is
my
the inception of podcasts.
Benny, do you have anything else you're doing that I might do better than you?
We're on a podcast talking about
let's all shit on the host
podcast
today.
and
I
somehow
get it.
brings in another podcast with the idea of a podcast. This is fucking Inception. That's all this is. It's podcast Inception. Yeah.
Yeah. Podception.
So Benny, are you gonna finally drop your lame ass podcast and join Adam's podcast and contribute to that instead?
Permanent. I mean, we'll see how this goes. Adam hasn't dropped an invite yet, so
He doesn't have much confidence in you so far, so yeah.
I haven't heard you do a single funny voice. I haven't seen you dance or swallow a bone. Nothing.
I was promised bug swallowing.
you didn't ask for anything. You're just like, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? I'll be like, yes. So,
It's a trap. It's
mean,
always a trap.
I don't know if you were expecting professionalism and preparation, but that's
No.
not what we're about.
It's kind of the opposite.
no, I
We're
have
about.
listened to you guys.
Oh.
Not a ton, but a little bit.
I apologize.
Very important question. Why?
I was curious. It's mostly because I miss Matlock. That's like the bull right there. And
Thank you.
it's
See,
like,
Benny-
I get to see Matlock, and he says things, and it's
Benny
beautiful.
is a special guest. You know, any guest that'll come on and immediately say, "I only listen to this for Matlock." That's my favorite. You're officially my favorite guest, Benny. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm very happy to see you.
All right, Matlock ranks you number one.
1 out of 1 Matlocks approves of this
the only
podcast.
ranking that matters.
So I'm looking through my notes here, Benny, and it says that you are also starting to write your own novel.
I am.
Tell me about that.
I'm working on a couple different things right now. Like last year, I set a goal of trying to read 100 pages a day. So 36,500 pages, and hit that. And I still had some time, so I was like, 50,000 pages, and I didn't quite hit that. I made it to 48,000. So I was just trying to consume as much as I could before going into something and trying to write my own stuff. And so
Did you
now I'm
purge
aiming at, like,
afterwards?
I did. You got to binge, and then you got to purge.
Well, that's what the novel is. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what remains is your own thoughts.
And
You know,
we
and
were
that's what you're
talk-
left with.
Just take a paragraph from each book and make that
Also,
your
does
book.
that have to do with the post-nut clarity that we were discussing at the beginning of this podcast, or are those two separate things?
Ideally, if you can
Great.
use both hands.
Now I can't edit that out.
Well
Thank you,
played,
Kevin.
sir. Well played.
Thank you, Kevin.
You brought me on this.
Yeah.
Now we know not to again.
You don't have to share anything you don't want to if you're not ready or anything, but you had any info about the book, like what genre, what title, and any.
Go into fantasy stuff because like that's what
That's your jam.
makes me most happy. Yeah. I got a world that I've been building for a while. I've got another one where it's just an alternate timeline of history where Columbus shows up and he's a dick and we kill him. And
Yeah.
What's
we move on
the
from
alternate timeline?
That's so
okay, yeah.
important.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, and it's what he finds too, but we're not going to go into that because that's
Atlantis.
not here or there yet. But the ones I'm focused on right now is one is a backstory for my character for the podcast. I thought it'd be fun to write like a short little novelette about him, and then the other one, for the sake of easing into things, is a Peter Pan story because you can just do that. It's allowed.
You have a syndrome and you want to live it. You want to learn your Peter Pan syndrome. So
I hate to be read that well, but thank you. That's
Maybe he was inspired by the.
that's why you listen to this podcast, right? It's for my insight, right?
I've never grown up, and I like wearing
inspired
tights.
by the fact that Steamboat Willie is now in public domain, and so he's just like, oh, you know what else is public domain? Peter Pan. I should write about that.
Peter
Why
Pan
not?
and Winnie the fucking Pooh. I want to be a Tigger.
Whoa! I don't like how you said Tigger.
It's going to be a
The
thing.
wonderful thing about Tigger is that Tigger's a wonderful thing. I use a hard T.
Christ!
Oh God!
I don't want to be on this.
Moving on.
What?
So
Why are you freaking out? Why is everybody acting like I said something?
Oh God!
I don't.
Edit here. Edit
With
here.
Tigger, you use the hard T. If it's a soft T, that's their word.
Yeah,
It's like the opposite of a Peter Pan fairy, So if you clap a lot, Matlock will just
I die. Yeah.
So everybody can just start clapping.
Every time I've gone on stage with you guys, that's my goal, to get the biggest laugh and the biggest applause at the end, and then just die right there of happiness on stage.
Just have
what a way to go.
everyone clap as much as they can on Matlock's penis.
If you don't believe in Matlock's, clap as hard as you can.
Are clapping? Are you clapping?
You've done it. He's
It's
dead.
kind of like if a tree falls in the woods, did anybody actually hear it? If Matlock doesn't die on stage to a rousing applause, was he ever really there? Yeah. There you go.
Only if it's
Yes, so that's when everyone, yay, hooray for you. I've never seen a double circumcision before.
That killed. When we did improv, that killed every time for our audiences of 16 to 22-year-olds. Like, dropping my pants, like, guaranteed somebody was like, I don't know if it was
Not
out
a
of
big
pity
hit at the Good Shepherd preschool, though.
Like, if it was a big pity laugh. No, we never played preschools again after that. But yeah, at the pub, it played pretty well.
Before that, it was really big in preschools. And
Well,
you just ruined that for us.
Pubs work and kids work if they're drunk as well.
Right.
Yeah, can we get the kids drunk? Is that okay?
I mean,
underground pub.
according to my lawyer, absolutely not. According to me, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
I have a story about dropping. Quick story about dropping my pants with you guys on stage.
Do tell.
Great aplomb. So before, I guess up to this day, maybe, like, when I need to go on stage, it doesn't matter how recently I've gone to the bathroom, I immediately need to, like, pee. Like, even if there's only like half a thimble full in my bladder,
The pressure's on.
like, you gotta get it out now. And so I would always, like, wait to the last minute, and then I'd run to the bathroom because inevitably I'd have to pee. So I'd run to the bathroom in the pub, and I'd come back on stage. And like I was saying, like every other show, probably, I found some excuse to drop my pants. Now, I'm an improv teacher now, and I know now.
Now I teach others to drop their pants.
I say, you pretend to drop your pants. Don't actually drop your pants. Pretend. But we were
Don't do what I did.
We were in our early 20s. If you could, and I'll tell you why, because if you go to hang those pants on a hanger, then they'll just drop on the floor. But if they're imaginary pants, then you hang them up. So
you don't care about
that's the only reason. Like that's the only reason. And if you don't care about the hanger part, then please drop your actual pants. But back then, I would drop my pants. It would always get a laugh, and just every scene I would drop. No, it wasn't every scene.
I mean, just one.
And after the third scene, people are like, "Is this all this guy does?"
It's just like a dick show at this point.
So 10 years, cut to 10 years later, maybe 13 years later, Facebook has been invented and people are posting old photos that they took. And someone posted a photo of me with my pants down on stage. Well, I had just gone to the bathroom pretty recently, probably, and hadn't shaken as well as I needed to. And so I'm wearing
that. Like,
gray boxers.
No.
And if I can find the photo, I'll show it here. What? We can't find the photo? That's a shame. But there was
I found it.
there was a small spot right on the front. My bulge, my little bulge in my gray
drops happen. Yeah.
And I'm making a funny pose. And this friend of ours had posted that photo on Facebook, not having noticed the spot. And I immediately noticed the spot.
of course you did.
And so I reached out to them as fast as possible and said, "Hey, I love that you posted the photos. It's really great that you remember that. There is a spot of urine on the front of my underwear, I can see it. And I think other people might notice it, though you didn't, but I did. So just in case."
I just love the conversational tone that led to that point. It's like, "Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Just a spot of urine.
How's your
Just
kid
a
doing?
little
I hear that they were having some trouble in school. Can you give? So there's some urine on me. Can you take care of this?"
I mean, for me at least, these conversations happen so often that I'm so used to it.
Shame goes out the window. Like you don't really have to worry about that anymore. Exactly.
Oh, I've never had any. No, none.
Nowadays, that you're older, are you more spotty or less spotty than from
I'd
that
say I'm
photo?
less spotty. I take more time. I don't rush anything.
You've learned your
I wait
lesson.
Until I wait.
Yeah.
I wait a good 5 to 10 minutes just standing at the urinal shaking, just in case.
Yeah. By the way, that's starting to
and
get
not
talked
shaking,
about.
Jack. He's talking about shaking like an old man. Just
The time I'm shaking it.
I have to make sure it's true. Someone might take a
you
photo.
never know.
And just before I finish shaking, I get really vigorous. And
There you go. That's how you achieve post-nut clarity.
Yeah.
I have a shy bladder. I have to milk the urine out.
you
I have
don't
to
know.
ease it out with.
Punch me in the bladder.
Have to ease it out with my thumb, like getting toothpaste.
Oh, God.
Do you have a straw?
Sir, do you have a straw?
A long straw. A bendy one, preferably.
Let's get
I
back
need
to Come on,
one that spells out the year before. I need a 2023 crazy straw for New Year's Eve.
We're so far off the fucking rails. Anyway,
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I took us there.
I do want to hear more about Benny's podcast.
That's what we were just talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
We're
Because you're going to cut all that other stuff. So
he was going to tell that story, but now that's used.
Yeah, that was a whole book.
Adam stole from
That's a
me.
book he's writing.
yeah.
It's Peter Pan,
Yeah.
but he has a continence issue.
Yes, Peter Pan grows up to be an angry lawyer and never learns a lesson.
Wait, I was going to say that's that is
It's a sad, sad story.
Yeah, I was
By
going to say
Spielberg?
the plot of Hook.
Yeah, except there's no redemption. He just stays an angry
Don't
lawyer.
get to go back. Yeah,
Yeah. In fact, he has that island clear cut and burned for a real estate project.
Bangarang.
Doing a retelling of Peter Pan. You know what happens? Oh, he gets old and bitter, dies.
Becomes an old, angry man, as you do.
Gives up his Peter Pan syndrome.
Yes.
Becomes a
Rufy,
father.
oh no.
No, he rediscovers his youth, doesn't he? It's whatever you want it to
There
be.
you
It
go.
ends however you want it to end. How do you want it to end?
I left the last 13 pages blank.
It's like a choose your own adventure that's just like the writer on the board.
Just lines. Yeah.
The first interactive movie. That would have been cool.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah,
Oh, man, I like it.
What's funny is if everyone in the theater was like, I want the bad ending. Everybody like in the theater selects the bad ending. They're like, I want to get fucked.
That'd be great. Like, but like Mad Libs, but like entire pages are blank.
Didn't they do that on Netflix with like Bear Grylls, where it was just like, oh, you get to choose whether he goes on the ice or he goes around the river, and everyone's like, dude, we're gonna kill Bear Grylls.
Oh yeah, choose your own adventure is one of my favorite formats in general. I've tried making a couple.
I have an AI experiment real quick. Do you think if you gave Mad Libs to ChatGPT and had them fill it out, it would be funny or trying too hard to be funny or not funny at all?
I find like with ChatGPT that you have to be very specific in your prompts and like guide it. So if you just say fill out this Mad Lib, it probably wouldn't be that entertaining. But if you tell it like you're an edgy comedian, now fill it out. You know, like something like
You're
that.
George Carlin.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to see what happens when ChatGPT tries to be an edgy comedian. Like this.
Well, I
See
just
the George
as an
Carlin?
example.
Has anybody seen the AI George Carlin special?
I did watch. I watched some of it, or listened to some of it, but
I think I will never see that because I like George Carlin, and I don't think he would appreciate it.
I love George Carlin, but it is interesting. Like they did a really good job of like emulating his voice, like the entire time.
It was
And
Will Sasso and someone else. They put it together for their podcast, and yeah, I guess they developed the AI to study George Carlin and try to emulate what jokes he would make today. And he makes jokes about the fact that he is an AI. He makes jokes about like the state of the world that are pretty spot on, like seem like George Carlin.
That's terrifying.
Angles on everything.
I found some of the humor was a little sad.
Right. It's like I almost would I was happy that it was saying what it was saying. I didn't really care that it was in George Carlin's voice, though it was with his obvious like influence in every joke, and they were funny. Well, his daughters.
You're not allowed to make money off
on Twitter. Yeah, they don't make money, I don't think, off of it, or they didn't. But
Okay.
But there's people doing like Joe Biden and Trump and Obama. Playing
I've seen those.
Together,
Yeah,
playing video games together, and now those are just the voices or AI. I'm pretty sure the people who do the videos are writing all the things for the AI to say.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And it's just AI voices. The voices though sound flat. Like after a while you can't listen anymore because they don't sound like real people responding to one another. It just sounds like
they don't have the emphasis. They just neutral.
But the George Carlin one, I mean, it flows. And he said the one thing I noticed is like he doesn't pause for laughter very long between jokes. Like he doesn't seem to have the timing of spacing between jokes or spacing jokes out. So but in general, his delivery is maybe a little quicker than George Carlin would be. But that's the only thing that's off of he's not letting them breathe quite as much. But it sounds 90% there. Like
like if you didn't know, you might just think it was like a not great, session of his.
I wouldn't say it's better than George Carlin's old stuff, but if you wanted to know what George Carlin would probably say if he did a special today, I think it's a good approximation. And it would even jokes about the fact that he is an AI version of George Carlin. Like,
I think we need to go find the cemetery where he's spinning in his grave and there's dirt just flying everywhere.
Yeah, right. He probably wishes he'd thought of a joke about being brought back after death and and made those jokes before he died.
So Benny, I understand you have some sort of podcast.
It doesn't matter.
That ship sailed, man. We're on to AI.
It's too late. Way too late.
Yeah, we've actually we're not doing our podcast anymore. We're just doing AI as if we were doing a podcast.
Yeah, you just do enough to generate and then let it run.
Yeah. We did the 2 episodes, and now we're going to let it produce itself and just rake in dollars.
Oh man, I wish that weren't actually a true story for some people, but
I did freak out with ChatGPT when it first came out because I told my wife Tia about it, and she got super excited and put in a prompt and did something, and I read it and I was like, okay, this is pretty good, but it's not better than what I can do, so I feel safe.
Right. And I've been having debates with people about whether it's going to get there sooner or later. And really, I think the argument is that it's going to be later than it seems right now, because it's really impressive new technology, but it lacks the depth that humans are able to bring to, and the context humans are able to bring to things.
It's getting better all the time.
There are
like
probably
write for Disney. Then
there are probably screenwriters who have already made films for like Shudder and like different like streaming services now that used an AI
To just write it.
I forget the movie. Red Letter Media was talking about this movie, and it's like they literally put in Gremlins plus what's that Christmas movie in like Sweden about the trolls or something. Anyways, they put in like 3 or 4 different like elements of different, and Christmas Vacation, Gremlins, blah blah blah. Maybe elves, yeah, something like no, it's something. It's got a weird name. Anyways, regardless, so you can cut all that. Screenwriters, yeah, thank you. Screenwriters are already using it to fill in like 80% of the script, and then they're just tweaking the stuff that doesn't work. And
I mean, that's an easy approach to it.
And there's wonder why people don't want to go to the movies anymore.
Well, I read that same thing that there's people who now have like 3 or 4 programming jobs, and because it can do code, like it can literally write code for
emails.
And so I saw this article about this dude who's literally pulling in 4 paychecks from 4 full-time jobs. He gets his assignments, he punches them into ChatGPT, it spits it out. He goes over it and tweaks it and polishes it and like makes it a little better, and like gets everything done in like record time. So he's like, yeah, I work like 3 hours a day and I have 4 jobs.
And you can do, and what's to say that there, I mean, America is all about entrepreneurship, and it's like, what's to say there's anything wrong with that? Like, it obviously, like, morally, it seems like you're cheating because other people are not doing that and they're working harder at their job. But if you don't need to work that hard, and that workload can be replaced or supplemented by something that takes 80% of the work away.
Doing, though. Like what it sounds like what that guy's doing, like he's kind of doing just kind of like bullshit menial writing for like corporations and stuff, where it's like, oh, I need this for a meeting, what have you. I mean, but then when you move into the realm of art, like that's where it starts to feel like theft.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can't like post a lot of AI art, or I assume you can commission AI art. If somebody said, you're good at making AI art, will you make me, a dolphin that looks like it's from a Pixar movie and it's jumping over me while I'm naked? And somebody makes that for you.
Not exactly
it's like, it's got those influence. Well,
not naked. I want you to be wearing gray boxer briefs with just a little spot in the front.
But yeah, as for ChatGPT, I've gone on there and actually participated in their little app creation store. Where basically you can make your own AI agent. You tell it what to be, and you can list it on the store. And if you pay for a ChatGPT subscription, you can just use it. So like you can go in the store and pick any hundreds of agents that people have made and use them.
I don't know what you're saying right now. Agents?
So for example, like if you prompt your ChatGPT to say, hey, you're someone who helps writers finish their novels. And you like to give suggestions, and you have a big focus in fantasy, and
you've got kind of a foot thing.
Yeah, and I want you to, and then you can like drop in some of your own text and say like, here's something I wrote, like, what's your review, or how do you summarize this, or how could this be better? And like that, and that agent would be like a writer agent,
We're talking about AI, and you mentioned agents, so the first thing I pictured obviously is Hugo Weaving like kicking the shit out of Keanu Reeves.
No, actually, you'll appreciate this. So the one app I have created, I've made 2 versions of it. If you go to ChatGPT and you have a membership, you can search in the store for AI Dungeon Master, and I've created an agent that will play D&D with you, and it will like prompt you, like use some of the elements from like existing modules and stuff mixed with like its own creativity, and it will generate images as well. So like if you say like I'm a dragonborn bard, it'll generate an image of a dragonborn bard, and then move on to the next text prompt. So it's pretty cool. Like it's amazing that I like put that together in like 2 days.
Benny, can you do that? Could you do that in 2 days?
Yeah.
Does your podcast do that?
Like, I'm gonna do that right.
I was just
after
going
I
to
do
point
this.
out again, it's like, cool. So Adam brought up a
How about
subject
that, Matt?
to, hey, by the way, I did this thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake, people! I'm a Renaissance man. I can't help it.
Oh my
I
God.
have to tell people about it, or they never know.
It's an Adam Aragon
That's
circle
fucking
jerk.
good. He's just
Beautiful.
done everything.
I need
This
to
is why
just shut the fuck up.
that's why we have 2 new people this week, and our other members are all missing. So, but
Adam strategically never invites anybody who's done something he hasn't done.
yeah, no, right.
You're in the
What have you done with your
military.
life? Not much. You're coming on my show.
Don't worry. Next week,
Yeah, next
Can you do
next
this?
week I'll
Can
be
you do this
replaced
with
with
your thumb?
AI, so it's totally fine. Adam will write a program
Yeah.
about me.
Shut up, AI, Kevin.
Yeah, man.
What
I found donuts in the background.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
Made me happy.
Oh, yeah,
What,
yeah.
it's in the background.
Remember,
What?
yeah, he doesn't want to get on.
Oh, yeah,
he
so-
doesn't want me to be on the chair, but he doesn't want to get on the chair. Now there he is.
you almost
There he is.
had a dog as a
He's-
guest.
Maybe there's something. Maybe he can sense something's going to go wrong with the chair. It's going to break, and you're going to like hurt yourself. Maybe that's why he's like, get out
I
of the
think it's
chair.
because he
I
knows
don't
I'm
wanna
going to
be in
replace it with an AI.
you get out.
I'm already convinced that Donuts is AI and was clearly put together by Pixar. Just like make the cutest fucking dog you can, and Pixar's like, here you go, this is Donuts.
And that is why you adopt.
There we go. Come here.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's why we get
And
found
then
on the street
abandoned.
of Fresno. So that's how
so-
so
Human children.
like Kevin Federline.
Yeah, it turns out adoption requires a lot of paperwork and not just a white van.
Yeah, it's Adam. You got to stop doing your catch and release dog adoptions. Like, it's really bad.
Why is
It's for sport. It's just for the fun of it.
Yellow tag in its ear.
I take the hook out.
Go free. I set them free in the ocean. Horses you drop from a plane.
Yeah, obviously.
Horses and cows, you let them out of the pasture, you get them on that plane, you get them 30,000 feet, and then you give them no parachute because they can wait. Can horses fly?
And if you have geese or swan, office building, ironically. Yep.
You let them into the office building.
Yeah, you release them into the office.
Release them
To an office building.
right into the lunchroom.
Next option is the Kinko's.
Sounds wonderful.
Just let them go nuts.
Mhm.
Or the
yeah.
bathroom while your girlfriend's in it.
Do Kinkos still exist? Do people still use paper? Is that a thing after COVID?
I believe they do, but I don't know if how much longer.
Pretty long ago that it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I would prefer to get a paper check.
Is it
If you don't go,
Oh,
isn't
you don't go
FedEx
with the
just
office building,
Amazon?
You got to go with like a Starbucks,
Yeah.
because that's what everybody uses at their office anyway.
yeah.
So,
If Starbucks had printers, I think we just go full circle there.
oh shit!
If
Why'd
we
you
fast
put that
forward,
out into the universe?
I know, I said it. I'm sorry.
tell us how-
I ruined life.
Program
fast
that you
forward
have
in your
going.
mind.
Yeah. Are you running a coffee shop?
Yeah,
platform
what are you
for-
doing?
No, I'm starting a podcast based on Benny's podcast.
I like it, and how
yeah.
inferior it is to the podcast that it's on.
Yeah, it's pretty much 3-hour rants about how much better we are, but we never actually play.
I dig it.
Very
I like it.
Not actual play podcast.
Better than Benny.com.
Adam
if you
already
check it
has a
out.
program going. It's this
We
weird.
already got an AI agent writing it. It's fine.
program. It's kind of nuts.
But Benny, I'll open it up to you. What else is new and exciting in your life lately,
Beautiful. I love it.
aside from that quilt? Yeah.
Very exciting, Phil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's true. Man, there's not a whole lot of that's exciting. I got jury duty for the first time. And that's fucking weird. It's
Go on.
it's
Tell
just
us more.
And it goes first and
like it's
last
the
name
worst
along with
possible
Social Security
scenario. It just you don't. Yeah, I can't give any information because I think I'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
in trouble.
Just go in and say I'm a flaming racist. I hope that doesn't hurt anything.
Like I put on the bottom of the questionnaire, they asked like, "Is there anything else we should know?" And I was like, "I have no faith in the American judiciary system." Like and that is not a joke. That is fucking on there.
I am a disgruntled
When I worked at the
communist.
jail, I got called to be on a jury.
I don't even believe in you. I'm
And
like,
like they didn't dismiss
It's-
me at all. It was just like, okay, cool, yeah, I see this guy every day in the cell block. I can't be on the jury with him. He's like, oh yeah, I know this guy. I'm like, do we not see a problem? No, I think it's okay. It's like it was the most. Yeah, but still, it's just like cool.
You're
have
not
no
like best
problem
friends or
with that.
anything,
Not
right?
that many
Thankfully,
people
the
showed
judge
up today.
was like, I think everyone's insane if they don't think this guy should go. But it was still like a good 3 days of my life just like sitting there waiting for my stupid number to be called.
Yeah. It's yeah, like I said, I always think of it as like going in and just like immediately disqualifying yourself like through outlandish claims. just going to be like, I'm the king of Spain. I invented ducks.
Big fan. Big fan. I mean, if you did, this would be a great
Did you?
concept for a podcast.
Like that.
I invented their penises, and if you know anything about
Yeah.
ducks, that's the
Dear
creator.
God.
I patented them at least. I patented them. Yeah.
Well, now we're in a copyright
Blur it
danger
out.
territory. I don't know what to
Yeah.
do there.
I mean, I think you can woo.
In the back, just get over it.
So
Other than that-
so go ahead.
Other than jury duty, which is just a mild current preoccupation,
Yep.
I'm getting back into judo. I've learned to cook exceptionally well. Like over the past 5-6 years, it's like I'm actually really fucking good at it, and I need to either quit drinking beer or stop cooking good food because this is starting.
I can attest to this. I can attest to this. I have had tacos made a la Benny, and
Oh yeah, that's
they
right,
were
that's a special
very
time.
nice tacos. They were very nice. I mean,
Yeah,
now when I say nice, I don't mean like they were nice. I mean like they were nice.
So you've been cultivating like a bit of a foodie, rep, Benny, and I
a
am
little
curious, like, so I see pictures on your social, like, of like places you guys have gone, for like fancy dinners and stuff like that.
And he's been to better
yeah, yeah.
places, and
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
wanted to let you know which ones they were.
I only post the second-rate places.
No, I'm just curious, like, what are your like absolute favorites? Like, what was like top notch?
Oh, okay. So the first one was a place that doesn't exist anymore, and it was called.
You couldn't go there.
It was open.
My Yelp review kind of held the ground.
It was called Syrah, and it was downtown Railroad Square area, and I had gotten a bonus from work, and Tia and I were out on a night on the town, and I was like, "Fuck it! Like they're doing a course meal. Let's do that." And I got
Where is
the
this
wine
again?
pairing. It was Syrah.
Oh, Syrah, yeah.
Yeah, and I got a 9-course meal for me and Tia, and I got her the wine pairing. At this point in my life, like I didn't even believe in wine pairings. I was like, yeah, that's just something rich people talk about. That's not fucking real. It's Santa Claus to me. And
There's no such
And we
thing as
go with-
wine.
wine doesn't exist. That's just mushed grape. But we went in and ate, and Tia like had me. She's like, okay, so taste the food, sip the wine, like back and forth, had me do everything proper, and that was the impetus to start. That was part of the impetus to start cooking. Was I had a couple of dishes there where I was like, I'm gonna see if I can make this shit at home. And what was fantastic was I was hanging out with a buddy of mine a while back, and we were talking about our favorite meals we had ever had, and I told him the story about going to Syrah, and he's like,
Oh wow!
that was my restaurant, right?
Shit.
Nice. I'm like,
What's the most challenging meal you've cooked?
The toughest one I did was beef Wellington because I had never even cooked steak before, and
Or been to
I'm
Wellington.
gonna make something fucking super fancy for my wife, and like I looked up recipes for and studied for like 2 weeks, like I was cramming for a final exam, and I get to the butcher shop and I'm trying to debate. I was like, okay, well I should get filet mignon because that's what I should get, but if I fuck it up, I don't want to fuck up filet mignon, so I should get this lesser cut. And I had like I think it was 4 different butchers come up to me and be like, hey, can I open it? Not yet.
I'm looking for just the right amount of mediocrity.
Of what I should do. There's no one nearby.
Is there somebody above you? Is there somebody there here that knows a lot about meat? I mean, other than you, I could just tell that you're like you're not there.
You just
yet.
kick open the door and say, "Hello, butcher man. I'd like the meat of an animal.
Give me the best meat you have."
Well, and my father-in-law is a butcher. Or was a butcher. He's retired now, but he was a butcher. So I was like, I if I fuck up filet mignon, like I'm pretty sure he's gonna deal.
She's kind of like retired, and he doesn't do it anymore. So
That's the poor man's retirement, right?
that's good stuff. Yeah.
But the craziest meal that I've had is for our anniversary we did a 22-course meal out in Geyserville, and it was fucking insane.
Who survived? Did anybody survive?
20 dead, 19 wounded.
See, reading.
The screwed up part was we had recently seen the menu, and then we go out to this place, and it's like it was just pouring down rain, like storming. Like I'm doing 45 on the freeway out to Geyserville, like could barely see. And we arrived to the place, and they've got like a hotel room there too, so you can stay and then go for the meal. And we don't know where to go. We can't find the entrance to the place, and so we end up accidentally like walking up into the hotel area, like along the balcony, and you can see down into the prep kitchen, and there's just a bunch of windows, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
And just a line of people jacking off into a big pot of soup.
I thought we were like the final course or something, and then we finally found our way in, and yeah.
I thought the twist was going to be that you showed up and went in the wrong door and just walked in someone's house and demanded a 22-course meal.
They happen to have.
Man, this place is full of this place. It's themed like a real house. It's weird.
Run shit.
Honey, do what the man says. He seems to think he belongs here. He must. He must know what he's talking about.
I guess we have to go to
Walking and demand that unless they knew what they were talking about.
Well, and it's not funny, but I found out later that the guy that owns the restaurant and the head chef there, he'd like switched everything around with COVID because a lot of places were going out of business, and he's like, okay, so we're gonna do this high end, like super high end thing where everybody there is going to get paid at least $60,000 a year. There's going to be medical benefits. We're going to try and end the turnover that happens at restaurants all the time. So he's like, I want to get good people in here and I want to fucking keep them. So it turns out that he just completely renovated how restaurants are generally run and did it the biggest
people
way that he
way
possibly
still
could.
stick around.
It's the way you survive is to adapt.
Yeah.
Wait,
Right?
so did that work out? Did he open that and it's running?
They're still going, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died 3 days later, but yeah,
Ironically.
It's only
Right before he released his plan to the world.
yeah, it was his version of Rent. Yeah,
All the other restaurant owners, you know, from around the area,
You must
they
treat
had
your
their
employees like
pitchforks and
garbage.
torches, and they came to his door. They're like, "You can't fucking do this."
chanting 20%.
How shirts on them.
Going deeper into the list of likes from Benny, you've read a shit ton of books recently. What are some of your favorites?
What do you recommend?
Oh,
Yeah.
Like favorites of all time or recently?
Recently, I mean, you've been reading a ton, and which ones really stand out and are memorable, and you
past 2 days.
recommend to other people?
Recently, I tore through The Expanse. That whole series is delightful. I heard that they're not gonna
Predates the
finish
show, I'm assuming.
Yes, it does. Predates the show. And apparently Amazon isn't even going to finish the show either. They decided to stop at like season 5 or something.
I mean, I'm not going to start watching till it's over. So if they never finish it, I'm never going to watch it. So
Well, you go ahead
that's
and
the
tell
catch-22
Bezos
of it
his
all.
business.
It's Matlock edging cinema.
Well, no, I mean, you have to admit there's a lot of shows that you probably and everybody here is sitting on because they want to wait until it's done to start watching it.
Yeah.
So how are you supposed to garner viewership until, I mean, if everybody does that, right? Like, I know not everybody does, but like Game of Thrones drove me nuts because it would be 1.5 to 2 years between seasons sometimes. And I didn't want to go back and rewatch like the past 3 seasons so I could remember all of the different storylines that were going on. Like, that's one show I wish I had waited until it was over to watch because I'd forget.
In reality, all you need to watch is the last
by the next season.
Yeah.
So what books do you like, Benny?
Game of Thrones is a book series too.
Yeah,
It's not
I
finished
read all
either.
those too, but he's also not going to finish that. So
Because Adam wrote a book series that you should really read. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Tell us about your Amazon show, Adam.
It's just about my failures.
So another one that I really enjoyed was
so
Dr.
good.
Sleep, because I'm a big Stephen King fan.
The book was good, and the movie was, I think, almost just a hair better, but like,
yeah. It's one of those ones. Like there's a few Stephen King books where they managed to actually up the ante when they turned it into a film. And
well, that
like,
director is like the guy to start, because that director, what's his name, of Dr. Sleep? Do you know, Benny? He used to be a movie guy.
I'll look it up.
I got to look it up. So he did. He's done a bunch of stuff, and like half of it's Stephen King stuff. He did Gerald's Game.
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan. He did House on the Hill, House on Haunted Hill, Midnight Mass, Haunting of Bly Manor, and then
He's like
Gerald's
the
Game, which is
big
like
horror guy.
Gerald's Game was supposed to be like Stephen King's unfilmable book, and other than it, and he made I thought it was a great little film.
I did not realize it was him because that explains.
Well, he's doing the new Dark Tower series, so he's doing.
That's very
excited about.
Yeah. Someone good, right? Someone really fucking good.
Yeah,
pretty much. Finally, someone has the reins.
Towers this year too, just because like it seems like every time I'm on a reading kick, I'm going to read a couple of those.
Right. Stephen King, there's some great Stephen King adaptations, but they're few and far between, like the ones that are actually like classic and good.
Yeah. For every Green Mile, there's a Tommy Knockers.
Christine's one of my favorite John Carpenter films. Yeah, right. Yeah. Golden Years. You ever see that one? Start with the Century. We started to watch.
I literally took a break between the second to last and the last book just because it was so good. I couldn't deal with the thought of it ending. And then reading like
I do that with stuff all the time.
And how like changed the end of the book as like the giant fuck you to everybody who didn't like the original ending of the book was just.
Oh, how does it end?
So wait on, yeah.
Would you?
No, like it was just like because in the version I had, like,
how does it look at?
He put in like
everyone dies.
He put in the book that people didn't like, and then he had like the afterwards. He's like, okay, so here's the ending that you all bitched and complained wanted, and it ended up just being a huge fuck you to everybody. Yeah, exactly. And everyone was happy at the end. It turned into like some shapeshifter, dry hump romance book. It was a very strange change.
I was reminded, Matlock. Matlock, do you remember when we did the Stephen King parodies of Stephen King?
Oh God, no.
So we had like this sketch idea like a while back where basically it's a knockoff guy doing Stephen King. So Stephen King's like instead of it, that, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of misery, sad.
The shining, the blurry.
Stuff I need.
Yeah.
The scuffed.
Pet veterinarian.
In the Mouth of Madness, he plays a character, John Carpenter. I think it's In the Mouth of Madness isn't based on a Stephen King book.
No, that's Sam Barker.
But the character, Sam Neill's character, is based on Stephen King, and he does have a similar name, and they do like have book titles, I think, in that movie that are supposed to replicate. Like,
I think they did.
Stephen King. But they changed little things about it. Anyway,
Stephen King's The Dim Tower.
the dim
the gun holder.
Right.
So this instead of the stand, it's the knee,
Stephen King.
the slight squat.
The green kilometer.
Green kilometer. I mean, it should be at least like Emerald Kilometer or something, right?
There you go. Stephen King presents. So, yeah. Anyway, I just remember that from back in the day, Matlock. I liked that one.
I don't. No,
Okay.
I really, yeah. Why did you bring no? Why would you do that?
I do not. I do not.
It's something I
And I put this in a set.
No moment in my life.
Shit. So, pretty much every night my parents fought, which was every night. So
Yeah. It was about me, but so any other questions for Debbie?
Missed you. I
open
haven't
to
seen
the
you for a
floor.
long time, and it's really good to see you. The beard has grown in a little bit thicker, but I see we're still
You
wearing
too,
the cap,
sir.
so beautiful. Great to see it.
Thanks. That's because up top it's getting thinner.
So you compensate down.
That's what happens when you get older. Everything just fades down.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm picturing Bunny as a bald Gandalf now.
It's kind of merging into Matlock.
Every 20
I
years.
decided.
Just domed with a huge
Longer and
beard.
longer and longer.
Yeah.
So you're losing the hair up top. Yeah, exactly. He's just
Yeah, I'm
sapping it.
absorbing your youth. Every time I look in your eyes, I'm absorbing
go.
your
So
youth,
after-
and it's
after
going
this
into the hair
podcast, we're
follicles
gonna be in
first.
a lot of
So,
trouble,
yeah.
man.
I
Oh, you'll notice twice as much hair.
Just by Grace
For
out.
sure. For sure.
mean, I used to have a ponytail down to my ass.
Hmm. Hmm.
I had a ponytail all the way down to my ass, and
I
the
remember.
reason I had to get rid of it was
It was actually in his ass.
Wait, what?
well, it was because of one of our improv shows. So when we started doing the theme shows to kind of keep things moving and
Yeah.
swapping out the host and stuff, I did the religious show, and I came and I hosted dressed as Jesus Christ. And after that, my now wife, then girlfriend Tia, couldn't do anything with me. She's like, it's weird. She's all, I'm not
I
religious.
only see Jesus.
Jesus thing is just there.
Yeah, I'm
So
not religious, but I'm not gonna piss in God's eye either.
I mean, I would say for some women that would be a huge turn on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Like you
I
could
had
get
to
them
cut my hair. My wife kept thinking that's
That's
looking
me.
at
It's
the girl. What a problem to have. Also, I have.
Sure, we role played it a couple times.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're on cold.
I turned water into semen.
You guys are religious. What's with the giant crucifix behind the bed? Shut up.
Well,
we're
that's-
devout.
I've always thought
Leave it
that
at that.
was
Role
like,
play.
Jesus Christ came back. Said, why are there all these crosses? That was a bad day for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in that news, by the way, I heard that the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas, here where I live, just recently swapped out all the Bibles for the Kama Sutra.
Well, coming in Vegas.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Stay at the Cosmopolitan. You get
I
fucked
mean-
all weird.
I guess is that better than that's
That's their motto now. I'm not. That's not me.
Get fucked with.
But it's off-brand, like your Stephen King thing. It's all Cosmo Sutra.
Kama Sutra.
I guess it's better than Anton LaVey, but
Oh, well, that'd be dark. Like
yeah,
the Hard Rock
the
Cafe.
complete other end of the spectrum with it. You know?
Satanistic Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Tell us about your
Anyway, so what else do you hate in the Bible, Ben?
Golly.
What does your girlfriend hate about Jesus?
No, girlfriend.
Tell us more. Your wife.
Yeah, and I'm going to quote you
Look,
here.
you got married in a church. She hates Jesus, but you got married in a church.
That's like, you even got married? Jeez, we just killed a goat.
I mean, that's the old thing. That's coming back, right?
I mean, as long as you raise the goat and you kill it in a very
That's why I will be. That's why I'll be
ethical
single for
man.
life. is just
You have to cook it
basically
because
because I can't afford a fucking
yeah.
goat. Inflation, I hate.
One of
all
these
right.
days.
So we are actually at about the top of the hour, and I know that Benny has a hard out at some point in the near future. So I did want to just say thank you so much for Kevin Jones stepping in and helping to host the show, Matlock as always, and Benny for being interviewed by us. We really like it. Happy. Oh, and something broke.
Okay, before anything else breaks, let's get out of here, shall we?
I just start shooting in the background like
podcast.
God's telling us to cut it.
yeah, God just my webcam just exploded and a demon came out. Anyway, but no, thank you so much, Buddy, for being a guest star on the show. Really appreciate it. And just a reminder out there, we are the Podcast Wreckers. You can find us online at podcastwreckers.com or on your podcast platform of choice or in Benny's book. I just
Benny,
threw that out there in the world.
Podcast again?
Oh yeah, no, you guys definitely going to be in there.
Yeah, Benny, please tell us, pitch your podcast real quick before we go.
Yeah, tell us where we can find
check
it.
us out. We're at INTLowWIS.com. INT Low WIS is all one word. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and our episodes drop on Tuesdays. So there's only 2 out there right now, but next week will be a 3rd, and they're just going to keep fucking coming, whether you like us or not.
Yeah, same thing with this.
Get in at the ground floor.
Now, Adam, you pitch something you do better than that.
I refuse to take this bait any longer.
Adam, will you pitch my podcast for me?
Like better.
Yeah, I can do a better job. Yeah, okay. So it's called the Rad Fucking Podcast.
We changed the
I
name.
Low WIS, goddammit.
Yeah. High Int, High Whiz.
With the
Rascals.
It's just a bunch of smart people making good choices. It's terrible. It's terrible. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you to our hosts, and thank you to Benny, and have a good night. And Podcast Wreckers out.